Welcome everyone to another episode of Be Well with Dr. Michelle Greenwell and our Migraine Awareness Month series. This month we're exploring practical ways to support people living with migraines, looking beyond symptom management, and asking how we can create more balance, resilience, and vitality in everyday life. Research tells us that migraines are complex neurological events influenced by genetics, hormones, stress, inflammation, nervous system regulation, trauma, environmental factors, and lifestyle habits. What research also tells us is that every migraine journey is unique. Many people spend years searching for answers, trying one solution after another. And when you're living with migraines, even self-care can feel overwhelming. During a difficult day, the idea of adding one more exercise, one more appointment, one more strategy can simply feel like too much. What if healing could also come through gentle practices that require little effort? What if art, color, nature, frequency, and intuitive tools could continue supporting your well-being even while you rest? Today, we're going to explore this beautiful possibility. I'm joined by two of my favorite people to talk to. I've got Tanya Levy and Marian Egan. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
Their work reminds us that healing does not always have to be hard work. Sometimes it begins with noticing, allowing, creating, and receiving. So I just want to introduce each of these beautiful ladies and what they bring to the community, what they bring to you, the listener, as opportunity. Marian Egan is an educator, an author, creator. She's a brain gym instructor, BioEnergetic Wellness practitioner. She's an intuitive artist, and she's won many awards for the work that she's done. She is also part of Heart Art Magic, creations that combine color, intention, and energetic frequencies. Her paintings are designed to create an experience that encourages relaxation, reflection, and harmony. Her work reminds us that art can be more than something we look at. It can be a companion on our healing journey. And you're going to learn more about that as we break into our conversation. Tanya Levy is a master of social work. She's a therapeutic touch practitioner, a touch for health enthusiast, an artist, bioenergetic wellness professional, and her passion in helping people reconnect with their own inner wisdom and healing capacity is at the forefront of what she does. Today, Tanya and I have developed the affirmations for the Biofield deck, a collection of nature-inspired images and affirmations designed to support different aspects of the body and energetic field. And we've also created the It's in the Cards deck, offering practical bioenergetic wellness tools that can be used individually or combined to create personalized daily wellness routines. And we're going to explore a little bit more of that as well. But of course, for those of you that know this podcast, I always have to start with a cup of tea so we can bring in the color, the smell, the textures, the herbs, some things from our garden, which brings in nature. And Marian, what have you got in your cup today?
Well, to be honest, I have coffee in my cup today. So that's what I decided the last minute. It was coffee that I went for instead of tea.
Mm-hmm.
So,
perfect. And what's on your mug? What does it say?
it says graw, which graw is the Irish word for happy.
Oh, beautiful.
It's Gaelga for happy. If I'm correct, I think it is, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And Tanya, what have you got in your mug?
I have coffee with some cranberry honey.
Beautiful. And what's on your mug?
I have polka dots.
I love that. Beautiful.
But the other evening I took some orange balm and some ginger mint from my garden, and I put almost boiling water in them and drank that. So that was lovely too.
Oh, love it. I just want to bring forward that what you choose to sit with as you listen to the podcast is going to provide you with different ways to engage and bring calmness to the body. So it's the smell. As you bring in, if it's the coffee smell, bring in the coffee smell, and it's going to take that limbic system, so the back brain, and it's going to connect it to the motor system, which allows you to move forward, which is a lovely way to think about how we take our breaks. And I'm lifting up my mug, which is full of bees today that say delicately floral and aromatic and have a whole bunch of herbs on them. And I want to introduce a tea that I was able to launch this last week called 1897 Generosity. And this is from the Cape Breton Tea Company and is a special one for the generosity of Obadiah Smith, who was a tea company owner, but who, through the money that he made selling tea, was able to share that across many hospitals and universities in Cape Breton and in Nova Scotia. So the affirmation on this one is open your heart to hope and optimism, for your resilience and pure generosity inspires others. And at the heart of this blend, I want to bring out two ingredients that people might not have thought about. One they'll be familiar with, but maybe not the other. One is oolong tea, and the other is elderberry. So the spiritual essence of oolong, and oolong is processed midway between what green tea and black tea have. And it's fermented for a little bit and then dried, whereas green tea is processed slightly different, and black tea is dried. So it often has like the burnt idea to it. So oolong is really quite soft. It reminds us that healing is not always about forcing change, but about finding a gentle flow between effort and rest, action and restoration. When we're talking about migraines, this can be really important. Its balanced nature encourages mental clarity while supporting calm, helping us navigate life's transitions with greater ease. And if you have that feeling of a migraine coming on, that opportunity to soften rather than to tense into it, but to soften into it, and then allowing the body to move so it can flow into what the body needs to handle the pain that may be coming on. I'm going to look at the spiritual essence of elderberry. So people are often familiar with elderberry. It's an herb and berry that has been used for centuries, has long been associated with protection, resilience, and community wisdom. And it symbolizes the strength that comes from deep roots and reminds us that healing is often nurtured through connection. And that connection could be with nature, could be with ourselves, could be with those who walk beside us, could be the pet that joins us, especially when we're not feeling so well. So the tea ritual. Rather than rushing through a cup of tea or coffee, allow it to become a moment of restoration. Notice its color. Breathe in the aroma. Hold the warmth in your hands, which is what I'm doing today. Set an intention, and we did that already at the start. And when we create small rituals, this will support the nervous system. We can invite the body into a state of balance and flow. And this is where the migraine, where it might be triggered, may become less intense or have the opportunity to be less frequent. So thank you, ladies, for coming for this conversation and bringing all your wisdom to the forefront.
Thank you, Michelle.
Oh my. All right. First question, Marian. You have your Heart Art Magic paintings. They're created with intention and frequency. Can you share how intuitive art can become a wellness tool for someone that lives with migraines?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing I'd like to say is, if you think of the acronym for ART, ART, for me, that's my ability to release tension and trauma. That's what art does for me, And what I love about it is the fact that there's no rules, no regulations. It's just me playing with color, like a 3 or a 4-year-old. And that's how I start off every painting, and it's amazing when you get the feel of it in your hands, because I paint with my hands and just go with that flow, And when I see, after I spread the paint around and then I see something within it, then I'll take a brush and bring it out. And sometimes some of my paintings have literally brought me to my knees where it showed me where I was locked and blocked within myself. And that's the wonderful way of working with paint that way. Because if you think about, tension in your body, like T is for tension. And if you think about the word pain, what do you get when you put a T at the end of pain? Paint.
Paint.
Yes, because it just releases the tension that may be building up in your body. It's a great way of just letting go, letting it flow, and just being in tune with what's happening on the inside, Because for me, it's like, if you think about migraine, I'm going to rewrite migraine. If you think of the word my, and then GRAIN, migraine. It's like, it's the seed your body is planting. For me, it's the body's way of saying, stop. Can you look at what I'm trying to give you some information? Stop, take some time, step back. As you say, relax and go with the flow, So it's like planting that seed of, well, what do I need to see? What do I need to know? What is my body or mind not happy with? Because a lot of the time we're pushing ourselves through, like, it could be a 9 to 5 or whatever it might be for your 7-day week or 5-day week. And we don't actually take time to stop and just for self-care, self-empowerment, and just relaxation. And as you say, having this and taking time to savor, not just make it and drink it, but to savor it, what it means to take the time to, as you say, smell it, feel it, hold it, and allow it to be a part of your relaxation. So all of these things have a major effect with me. So I'm sorry for putting a new handle on the migraine, but that's what it is for me. And when I take the time, I look as a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, nutritional, emotional, or environmental, then it's investigating. Why is my body talking to me like this? Because, I've had migraines. My very first one when I was a child, I didn't know what it was. But over time, I've learned how to, as you say, relax, release, and don't tense up. Relax. Do something that's creative, that allows that flow to go. I hope that helps.
I'm in awe because you're in Ireland, and I know part of the piece for the Irish and for the Scottish is to play with those words. And in North America, we don't quite do that the same way. And definitely, I would never have thought of looking at migraine as migraine and a seed. That is just so empowering. So I appreciate that. And the other part was pain plus the T is paint.
Yes.
And as you were describing that you're painting with both hands, I'm familiar with that because I've been painting with you for a while. And that power of being able to put both hands into the paint, not just one, because some people do one, but actually put both hands into the paint and let them express themselves. So anybody listening thinking, oh my goodness, I would recommend going to Marian's YouTube channel and watch her paint, because then you'll see how her hands work in the paint. And that might be something that you feel called to be able to put your hands into that color.
Yeah. And then just one other, as you say, about play on words. When I started as the founder of Heart Art Magic, the reason I have magic there, again, it's an acronym. And that magic stands for my ability to go into my center, because this is where the magic happens. Our body has got the answers, but we need to stop, step back, listen, take stock, and allow whatever wants to come forward, and then take it from there.
Beautiful. So I hope, as you're listening, everyone, that if you have the opportunity to write those keywords down and just see how easily, just by Marian saying them, she's transformed just by changing those words. Beautiful. I wanted to think about, because I know people will be thinking with their self-care, it's just one more thing they're going to have to do. So when we're talking about using color and frequency to support the body, how is it not something we have to do next? Can you explain how it's just part of your day?
Well, for me, it's part of my day. But if I don't have time to paint, well, then I have created my paintings and I've created them into my cards. So I have it's already done. So it's a done deal, And then the message on the back and then the frequency number, like that is so magical. I went into a shop this morning and I could see the owner of the shop. I knew she was in pain by the way she moved. But by the time I left the shop 10 minutes later, she was pain free because I gave her two of my cards and my messages and my frequencies. Um, and it's wonderful to do that. So that's quick and handy. And even with the cards that you have, Michelle, it's the same thing. You have it to hand. You don't have to go do anything. But if people don't want to paint, then they can just use color pencils, or even just doodle. You don't need much to just, because when you start doing that, you're allowing the creativity part of your uh, inside to be able to express what you're feeling. It's all about expression. And when you express what you're feeling, now your feelings are not held inside. They're now outside on a piece of paper or on a canvas. And now you've just released what's been, bugging you, maybe. So that's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I'm going to come back to what you said about the card and the actual card itself. So I'll bring that back in a few minutes so people can learn what that means,
Mhm.
but how simple that is to have that extra piece. So I wanted to do one more little bit before I bring Tanya into the conversation, and that's about visual sensitivity during a migraine episode. So, can art become a gentle companion during recovery, something that can support rather than demand more attention? How, for you, having had migraines, how might the art support that?
What I have discovered and what I found was as I start painting, as I said, there's no rules or regulations, just doing it with my hands. Um, I'm intrigued by what's happening underneath my hands and what's coming forward with the colors I'm using. And then I realize about maybe 20 minutes or even 15 minutes later, I'm not focusing on what this is feeling. My focus is on what's in front of me. So the color supports the feeling of the paint between my fingers supports me. And then what it's actually showing me, if I need to bring something out, it could be a mountain, it could be a waterfall, it could be a bird or anything like that. Or it may not be anything at all. It might just be just pure color. It may not have anything in it, just pure color. And that's how I notice that my attention has been taken away from here and now it's coming from the heart center and out onto the canvas or the paper. That's what I find.
And
It
so that
really helps.
so you've got that, so that sense of feeling that comes from the migraine is actually transformed as the fingers get into the paint and the feelings of the paint and the feelings
Yes.
of the canvas underneath your fingertips and
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
the movement patterns that you're doing as well.
Yeah. And you know yourself when you're moving both hands, then you're integrating the brain pattern as well, so it's all helping. But you don't even
Mm-hmm.
realize how much you're helping yourself by doing that, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Okay, Tanya, let's bring you into the conversation. And you are also an amazing artist. You see things in nature that you bring through with your camera. You bring it through with the way you make pictures. Do you want to talk a little bit about the art that you do?
Well, I got a phone from my husband about, I don't know, 16 years ago. And I took a picture through the bathroom window with the flash on by accident, and it made like this flower of light. And I thought, that's cool. Let's do that again. So about, 380,000 photos later, it's become a slight obsession. So I take pictures of trees and sky and flowers and light, and then I mirror the photos or I layer them, and I always see messages in them, and I listen to what the photos want to tell me. I find a lot of hearts in nature too, and a lot of hearts in the sky. I got out of my car one day and there was a perfectly shaped ice heart right by my car. And then the next day there was another perfectly shaped ice heart in a different place, and then there was a snow heart. So I'm always very amused by how nature and the universe plays with me. I think that because I do therapy work full time during the day, the connection with nature and art is a way to move the story through my body and being so that so the stories don't linger with me, and also a way to move the energy in a positive way, because sometimes the stories about trauma can be heavy.
Mhm.
It's a way to lighten it.
Beautiful. Wow. And you have a nickname people gave you.
Yes, I was on I'm on a Facebook group called Small Stones, where we um, share small pieces of writing as a way to be mindful. And I posted so many pictures of heart clouds that they nicknamed me Heart Lady. So Heart Lady Inspiration is the name of
Of your
my
company.
my company.
Yeah, I love it.
And then people share hearts with me from all over the world and tag me and say, I saw this heart and thought of you. So I think it's fascinating that people see hearts and think of me. Helps
Exactly,
them to
right?
stop and pause and hopefully ground and center in that moment and notice the heart. So,
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you and I created the affirmations for the body and biofield deck. You've got the cover there. So it's a black cover, but it has a very special image on the front. Do you want to talk about that image for those people that can't see it?
I created this image in flow paper, and I don't think flow paper exists anymore. And flow paper was an art program where you could create twirls with your fingers.
Okay.
And so I created this image with my finger, and I thought it looked like an African woman holding a child.
And it's a
That's what I
ribbon of
see.
color for those people that can't see it.
So it's kind of swirls of color, and there's a lot of shadow in the photo too, because I think sometimes we do find comfort in the dark, and I know that a lot of people with migraines find comfort in the calm and the quiet and the dark. And we talk about light being comforting, but sometimes the quiet of the dark can be comforting too, like nighttime just at dusk or moonlight. And so I think all of that is in that photo.
Mhm. And this deck that we created grew out of our shared understanding that the body knows where support is needed, but we
Yes.
can't always hear the cue. So we created it so that the body would be able to tell us by the cards that we are chosen. Can you explain how someone might use the deck to discover their primary focus, where healing might need to be?
I think for me, a lot of times, this is a smaller version of the deck. Um, I often just shuffle, and then I pick a number, usually with asking myself what number it needs today and trusting my intuition, or for those who are familiar with muscle testing the number. So today it's 5. So let's see what card number 5 is. So this is the picture, and this is from the Meeting Divine. There's 4 decks and affirmations for the body and biofield, and this is from Meeting the Divine. The power of gold and red are enhanced in brilliance as each spinal chakra resonance opens with your breath. An orchestra of freedom and belonging is experienced as the energies all dance together, radiant Kundalini. And so there's many ways you could use that. You could look at the color and think, is there something in this image that speaks to me? Like to me, it feels like a very powerful image. So I might think maybe I need to be more powerful in my life, or maybe there's something that's wanting my attention and I'm missing it, or maybe I'm not tuning into my power. Maybe the color red means something right now. Maybe I need to be more rooted and grounded, or maybe the color green means something. Maybe I need new growth or to connect with my heart, or maybe there's a feeling that comes out when I look at the card that's important, like the feeling of strength. Maybe I just need to return to that sense of strength in my life. Or maybe there's something in the words that speak to me. Like to me, breath comes right out and freedom. So maybe I need to make space to breathe, because a lot of times I find when I have migraine symptoms, it's because I've pushed myself beyond what I should have and not taken enough breaks and not taken time to breathe. And so as soon as I read that, I'm like, okay, the garden will get planted when it's planted, and you don't have to plant all 60 packages of seeds you have tomorrow, right? Even though, of course, I think I can and should, and weed all 20 garden beds, right? But I think the point is that the messages are there if we can find a space to receive them. Often I will pick a card each day at work to focus that day or that week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also when I work with my students, I encourage them to take photos, because sometimes it's easier to express ourselves through images than it is through words.
Mm-hmm.
I find images I'm looking at Marian here, but I find images sometimes are easier for us to relate to, especially if we have any struggles with words, like hard to read or hard to write. Whereas images are easier. Did I answer all your?
It is beautiful. Yeah. And in this deck, we looked at structure pieces in the body, but like you said, you were talking about the spine, then there's the joints, there's the way the fascia comes off the spine, and then we have the energy on the outside of the body, which we often forget about. So a migraine pulls us in, really constricts us into the inside of the body.
Okay.
But if we can pull ourselves out and find that energy on the outside, how it might be able to transform what's going on the inside.
And I believe the deck began because I created a photo, and when I mirrored it was like a picture of trees. It looked like a spine. It looked like a person sitting in their spine. And I believe I messaged you and I said, Michelle, I think I just created a photo of the spine. Maybe we could do something with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
here's the deck.
And there's the deck.
And I could feel like it like it felt like a spine, and it felt like a person sitting and kind of like breathing into their spine, because I often think of illness as contraction.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I fell on Christmas Day and my shoulder pushed in, it took me about 3 months to actually get it to unclench and open, and that was a little bit every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that illness is a teacher, and the spine is anytime we can move our spine is a way to open to what our body's trying to tell us, because, we're sitting a lot and being still a lot, and our spine likes movement. It likes to wiggle and jiggle.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I don't know if that's a scientific term.
As long as it works, that's all that matters, right?
But I think
So-
you understand what I mean by pushing past, like ignoring our body signs and pushing past where we should. And then all of a sudden this hurts and this hurts and this hurts. And then we're like, oh, I didn't check in. I didn't pause. I didn't take a break. And I think a lot of people have tension in the mind or the brain, because that's the part that's often working so hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that constriction piece that happens, that lack of breath that results. Yeah.
But sometimes when I say, are you suffering enough right now? Or would you rather wait until you feel worse? before you do anything, you know. So it's prevention is better than cure any day, you know. So putting systems in place so that you don't get into that struggle and that, you know, that's the key, really, isn't it?
And I've seen me sit at my desk going, I can go pee after this email. No, I'm just going to send this email and then I'm going to go pee. And then I'm like, and then the other part of my brain's like, will you just go to the bathroom? Just get away from the screen and go to the bathroom. You will not die. Nothing will crash. The world will not end. Just listen to your body and go to the bathroom.
Mhm.
And so then I'm like running to the bathroom because I've almost waited too long. And in my brain, I'm going, why do I do this to myself? Like,
Mhm.
why do I do this to myself?
Mhm.
What is that important that I can't listen to my body well enough to go to the bathroom?
Mhm.
And I mean, I think it sounds so simple, but as counselors, we talk about the fact that we don't even sometimes take time to go to the bathroom, which is absolutely ridiculous. How regulated am I if I'm sitting in my office? And I've said to a student who's popped by my office going, I can talk to you, but I'm sorry, I have to go to the bathroom first. And they give
Mhm.
me the yes, Tanya, it's fine.
Yeah.
And while
Yeah.
they're laughing at me,
But and
because
two,
I
you
tell
know,
them to take care of themselves and to listen to their body. And here I am going, I can help you as soon as I run to the bathroom.
Mm.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And nobody minds when you take those few moments because actually they end up stopping and taking a few moments because
yes.
now they have this space. And sometimes we forget that space is also important. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I think this is a great segue. So we've talked a little bit about um, the cards that are in the body and biofield deck. So an opportunity to play with art, taking photographs of nature, bringing those pictures in. Um, Tanya, I think if you and I just bring in some of the science around awe, you and I talked about the other day,
Yes.
and I think this is a great thing because if someone goes and takes the time like you do to snap that picture and capture that piece that goes, oh, this is so beautiful, that is a
And
way for
sometimes
the
I
body to
don't,
relax. Mm-hmm.
because my son used to say to me, Mom, you can just enjoy the moment and not take the picture. You know that, right? Because it's back to, why am I doing the practice? Am I doing the practice so that I can create a pretty photo for 100 other people, 1,000 other people, whatever? Or am I enjoying the moment in nature because I want to breathe and be present to nature? And I think that sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to just be awestruck in nature and not do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
Last week I said to my son, I spent 3 hours in the garden doing stuff and it was great. And he said, Mom, 3 hours in the garden doing nothing is great too. And I'm like, right. Like, and think about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was so excited to tell him I'd spent 3 hours in the garden doing stuff. And he's like, okay, but now just a minute. What doing, being in the garden doing nothing, being in nature doing nothing is still something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And taking in those moments and realizing the flower is yellow
Yes.
and you can capture the fragrance, or you
Mhm.
see the heart cloud that's going to go by, or as we have here, the fish scales the last couple of days, the storms coming in and we get these beautiful cloud formations. It's
And they call them
beautiful.
fish scales?
Well, that's what we had the last little bit. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean the clouds look like fish scales?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I mean, and walking by the corner and smelling the ginger mint and going, I wonder if I can make a cup of tea with that. That's good for digestion in the stomach. I could really use that this week. I've probably been a bit off in my consuming of food this week. Oh, well, what about that orange balm I planted last year? I wonder if it's taken. Oh, look, it's like 6 inches tall. I could take some of that and then going in and actually making the cup of tea instead of leaving it on the counter till it dries out and I forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Exactly.
saying these things because I know that people listening go, oh, yeah, I was really going to do XYZ and I didn't do it. I brought it in the house. It was in my pocket, or I brought it in. I was going to do this with it. And then I get busy and I forgot all about it. And I never made the cup of tea. And we're allowed to spend 3 hours doing nothing but drink tea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Let's move over, Marian, to what you talked about with your deck of cards and working
Mhm.
with your artwork. Do you want to share an experience for people so they could get a feel for how this works?
Yeah, well, what the first thing I say to people is, if I take that lady this morning in the shop, I just asked her how did she feel, and she was telling me how bad she was. Um, so again, getting back to giving yourself permission, that's the very first thing, is to give yourself permission to allow whatever's the discomfort in your body to go. And that's what I say to people, just and say it out loud, because the vibration of your voice is as important as you thinking the thought. So I get people to say, I give myself permission, and I allow this discomfort or pain or stress or anxiety or migraine to go. And then once you've done that, then like that, I get them to choose a card. Now I've handheld cards, or I've digital cards, and the digital cards are numbered. So I might ask them to choose a number between 1 and 47. And they choose a number. That's them as if they were shuffling the card themselves. So when they take the card, they read the message and they look at the image, and then they install the frequency number. And what happens with the pain, your body needs to run a circuit in order for the pain to continually, or the stress or anxiety or migraine to continually flow. There's this pain circuit running, and the frequency interrupts pain and kind of backs it up and moves it in the opposite direction. So therefore the circuit is broken and can no longer run. And that's when the pain or anxiety or stress just stops. And it's amazing to see it happen. And like with that lady this morning, she said, I can't believe this. I said, what can you not believe? She said, the pain is not what it was. It's less than half of what it was. So we did another frequency number, another card, and her pain was gone. And she said, this is incredible. And I said, well, look, your body has an innate intelligence to heal itself. But sometimes we're so busy and we're so caught up with what we're doing that we don't stop. But because you guys, and myself, we have developed I call it a toolkit. It's a self-healing toolkit. And it's an ideal opportunity for people to have the toolkit so that they can use it and help themselves. Because my mission is to empower people to heal themselves. And that's what I teach. So I know that lady was very happy. She was so happy that she booked a session for next week with me in person when she's off work. So that was nice. That was good. But that's how it works. But it's giving ourselves permission, allowing it to happen, and the body knows what to do when we take the time to instruct it. I always say your brain is your conductor and your body is the orchestra. And that's why it's important to give yourself permission and say it out loud, if that helps.
Mm-hmm. Can you pull a card for us now? So if anybody is sitting with that migraine pain, or they have something else that they would love to see soften.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll pull that now. I'm just shuffling the card now. And so this is the one that's come out. It's called Magic Crystals.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I actually have this. This is why I painted this. I have this it's like a
wand?
chakra wand. Yeah, the wand, yeah.
Chakra wand. And just for those people who are listening in and can't actually see the art, can you just describe a little of the visuals that are there for it?
Yeah, so it has all the colors of the chakras, from the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, and the magenta, and the violet. And then there's a crystal ball on the top of the wand, and there's a crystal, like a diamond-shaped crystal at the end of the wand. Okay. And then I have another crystal in there as well that I have in my practice. But this says magic crystals. And the message is stop wishing your life to be different. The magic lies within you. It always did, and it always will. Sometimes we need to reconnect with it as life issues and trauma can disconnect the magic within you. You just need to reactivate it by making the following statements on a daily basis. And the statements are, I like myself. I love myself. I deserve to be happy. I accept myself as I am. And then the frequency number, people would like to write this down, is 543-213-21. So to install the frequency, I get the person to, as I say, give themselves permission and then tap the number on the breastbone by tapping in and saying 543-213-21, 543-213-21, and do that about 7 or 10 times. And by the time they've tapped that in, the circuit has stopped running and the person feels better. And that's as simple as it is. So a card a
So
day.
Marianne, I was
Yeah.
just going to say, if someone
Yeah.
wanted to get one of your decks, they could go to your website. And do you have 3 decks now?
No, I have more than 3.
Oh,
I have 4 handheld decks, and then I have digital decks as well. So yeah, the choice is there. So if anybody wants a deck, they can go to the website and have a look and see what they would like. The one I've just shared with you is called I Dreamed a Dream.
is that your
Beautiful.
newest one?
No, that's the second one.
Okay.
The newest one I did it in collaboration with Michelle and myself. I called it Free to Be Me. And this is the paintings that I would have done while Michelle is doing her Tai Chi classes, and I paint alongside. So a lot of the paintings are in that deck, Free to Be Me.
Awesome.
So that's the Movement in Music and Symphony of Radiance classes that we did. And Tanya had artwork also involved in that, but Marian was intuitively painting our experience of movement and music. For those people, if you want to check that out, then that's on the greenwellcenter.com in the shop. All right. So now we've got the artwork, we have a frequency number, we have the body and the biofield deck, which also has numbers on it, not specifically the frequencies like Marian has with hers. Tanya listed off an area of the body, but some of the cards they'll say the note of F, the note of A, and they'll be corresponding to different parts of the spine. So in the research on frequency, the different parts of the spine resonate with different notes. And when we can have that space in the spine, like we got from the card that Tanya chose, the space that comes into the spine allows for that bone to be able to vibrate at that note. And so we have the opportunity to bring a frequency in that way. So a little bit different than Marian did. So what I'd like to bring forward is often one of the challenges with migraines is that people often feel like they have to work hard to get better. And what we're trying to share with you is these are simple, easy things that they can just be a part of your day, things that you do. They can be an activity that you know to go to when you need to, but as a proactive approach, rather than waiting till the pain's coming, it's really nice to have it in your day all the time. So then it's just there, and that can help support the system. So the healing process can include tools that work quietly in the background. So we're talking about looking at a painting, holding a card, reading the affirmation, sitting with a cup of tea, taking a mindful breath, spending a few moments outside or in connection with someone else. So all of these simple practices do matter, and they will make a difference for you. You're never sure where they're going to make the difference, but that's the curiosity, waiting to see how does the body respond when you start to add these simple little activities in. So what I'd like to do now is move to one more deck that Tanya and I created with Holonoic Droog, and this is called It's in the Cards. Tanya, do you want to share a little bit about your favorite way to work with this deck?
What I find most useful about It's in the Cards is the neurovascular point, and especially I find if someone comes to my office and they have a headache, it's helpful to hold the point for water at the back of the head at the base of the spine. You just hold your hand there, and it kind of helps with anxiety. And then emotional stress release, you just put your hand on the forehead, and then you just hold those points together. It's very relaxing and calming. And I find this is a great way to deal with the headache quite right away. And there's other neurovascular points in the deck for different emotions and feelings, but I find this is the most helpful one for migraine, is combining the neurovascular point for water with ESR and the head hold.
And so for those people that are watching, Tanya has taken the whole palm of her hand and placed it lightly against her forehead, and the whole palm of her other hand and placed it lightly at the base of the skull. So if you couldn't see what she was doing, that's the position she's holding, and she's holding them very lightly. You don't have to apply a lot of pressure. Yeah. And lovely that you can hold a couple points on the head. If you're not feeling up to it, someone else can hold those points for you, and that can also be extremely helpful. Beautiful. And Tanya mentioned that there are other points that you can hold on the head, and you can hold the points in a certain order. And on my YouTube channel at Michelle Greenwell, there's a playlist called It's in the Cards. And you can go to the neurovascular holding points video, and you'll see it there. I'm just going to hold up the cards. Hopefully I can get them right in the light.
Yeah, you're good, Michelle.
And so there's little, which way am I going? Little pictures that tell you.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
That tell you with little dots what area to hold. And in the video, it'll tell you which order to hold them in, if you want to nurture yourself, or if you want to change a pattern or a behavior. So maybe you have a regular habit of, this would be mine, I'll admit this part, of not drinking enough water in the day. You get lost and busy, and all of a sudden it's 2 p.m. You're laughing because no one else does that. But along comes that headache because you're dehydrated.
Yes.
Then you can sip on the water.
We all sip water at the same time. Good.
But you can also hold those neurovascular holding points in the pattern for changing behaviors to help you move beyond creating that crisis. And that pattern happens to me periodically, and then I go, I know better. How is it? But it's like going to the bathroom. How is it I kept putting it off to put myself into this crisis here?
Yeah. And Michelle, the foot sensors are in the cards too, right?
Yes, the foot sensors are.
So in addition to the neurovascular points, your video also talks about how you can use the foot sensors. And the only reason I bring that up is that sometimes I'm in a meeting online and I know that I'm not doing great, and you can do the foot sensors under your desk and nobody knows you're doing them except you. And it's a way to rebalance your energy in your system quietly without anyone knowing. And each of those points that you mentioned, like the water point, has a foot sensor that goes with it, and it's explained in your videos. And so for those of you that are online a lot or on Zoom a lot, it's a great way to rebalance your system quietly.
Thank you for that, because for me, using those foot sensors, I love to stand in the color. And so, yes, I can do it underneath, which I also do on many calls or meetings. I'll have my feet moving underneath, especially if I feel like I need to start moving because we've been sitting for too long. Then I'll start to do that. But I also like to step on the color while I'm doing the activity. So what do I mean by that? That if I hold up this card, so I've got the fire element, so you'll see it's the color red. And the activity is to rise and lower on the foot, and that'll help with the centering reflex. So if I step on the color red while I'm doing this, then I can add color into it. And if I want to go find that neurovascular holding point, which is for fire, that's the one that you were talking about. This one is on the back of the head, but it's up at the top at the back of the head.
I always think of it as behind the eyes.
Perfect. Thank you for that. This combination and done in a nurturing cycle is my absolute favorite way to use the cards. And they can be layered that way so that you have different ways you can filter in the color, the sound, the feel, the texture, and the activity. Yeah.
And just to reassure people that are listening, if you don't have red to stand on, you can just visualize where you would find red in nature, which is really easy this time of year because there's roses and peonies and all kinds of flowers that are red. So it's an easier way to sometimes bring the color in.
Mm-hmm. Or I try to look around my room too. There's usually all the colors represented in the room. So that's also a great way. Yeah, perfect. So this card deck called It's in the Cards is full of single activities. So as we've described, Marian cut her deck of cards to find us the one. Tanya shuffled the deck, and then she said she's going to find the fifth card. And the It's in the Cards can work the same way because you can pull one single card and just do that one activity. And that one activity can be enough to just move the system into a different place, get out of the distress it's in, and start to bring some balance and flow. And you can layer them, putting different movements together, or you can keep it simple as one. All right, these practices become anchors, and these anchors can help when times when a migraine is coming around and we're not in the state of being able to make a decision about anything we'd like to do or even participate in something. But as we have the habit of using these tools, they just become go-to things that you don't have to think about. And that makes the decision making much easier because you just know how to use it and you kind of fall into it. Is there anything either one of you wants to add about those three decks that we've talked about?
Well, I think it's just about doing something that will help, even as you say, Tanya and Michelle, just drink more water. Like something that simple that you may not even think about because you just feel so awful. But start with that and try and catch it before it becomes a major problem and do something. Do one small something for yourself to bring some relief. And as you say, don't tense up, relax.
And sometimes it's hard to focus on the breath. I've had students come to my office that couldn't breathe because they were so stressed. And so a lot of times I just direct them to feel their feet on the floor and try to connect their feet to the ground underneath them. And sometimes if you can just ground for a minute or even 10 seconds, then they'll go, oh, that feels a little bit better. I said, okay, now let's try to breathe. So just to be kind and gentle and compassionate to yourself, that sometimes we have to ease into these tools, that we've just something happens and our stress response is immediate, and that's how our bodies work. Our stress responses are there to protect us, and then responding to them can take a couple tries of different tools to kind of find our way through, and that's just the process.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I have one more piece I would like to bring into this. And if the cards are paper, we don't necessarily want to put a glass on top of it or our mug of tea on top because we might spill the water on the card. However, you can just put a little piece of plastic over top if you want, or some of our decks are plastic. So I'm just going to bring the Harmony coasters into view because the Harmony coasters were made to put glasses on top of, and they're plastic. But this is another way that you might want to work. Again, it's not adding any extra effort in, but if you have a card or a piece of artwork or something that you really resonate with, maybe a picture of nature, that you want to infuse into your water, then you can place that image on the table, put your glass on top, and the work of Dr. Emoto on how we can put intention into water, it can change the frequency of the water. And this is a great way. You don't have to do anything. You can just infuse that water with something that's really nurturing and supportive. And maybe it's on your own artwork, maybe it's our artwork, but it's a great way for you to think differently too about what you are sipping on when you're sipping that water in. Something that's been energized or something that maybe feels more dead. It's not going to add anything to you. This is a great way to lift you up.
And not to go too far around the bend, but since we're predominantly made of water, you could also just take the card and put it in your pocket and walk around with it all day. Because I've certainly loaned cards to people from my deck, our deck, and they've put them in their knapsack or put them in their pocket and carried them with them for a week to support them. So it's okay to use the art, what's the word? In a movement way, in an active, dynamic way, I guess.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Tanya. So I want to bring us to just exploring something that I've talked about on several occasions, and this is part of season 5, episode 1. I opened with the BioEnergetic Wellness formula, and I want to bring that to the forefront because each of us has talked about it in our own way as we've been sharing the tools. One of the principles of the formula is that small shifts can create meaningful change. This is by setting a goal or creating an intention. I want to have a day that's full of ease and flow, or I look forward to a day that's calm or creative, and setting up the day how you would like it to be or being able to accomplish a task. Then finding awareness, noticing if tension shows up in the body, noticing where there might already be tension there, noticing what your posture is like, how your feet feel on the floor, and then doing some kind of activating supportive practice. Today, we focused on art. We focused on color, frequency. So that can be an activating supportive practice that can bring harmony to the system. Connecting in community. So we've talked about that. And that could be by connecting with nature, connecting with your pets, could be the people that you live with, maybe finding your best friend to have a conversation, or just going out and meeting a stranger and saying, "Hi, I see you. Nice to meet you." Or as we do in Cape Breton, we wave at people as we pass them on the road. Whether we know them or not, we'll wave anyway, and that always makes me smile. So it's a wonderful way to connect with community. And then there's trusting your intuition. From using these tools repeatedly, your intuition starts to really build. You know which card in the deck is jumping out at you. You know which phrase might be important to you, or you may have a favorite frequency number that you know really works well for you, and being able to pull that and trusting that intuition. With all of this, we can create an environment where healing can happen. And each of us has this kind of habit that we work with, and it's a daily practice that becomes powerful for long-term habits, which create wellness for us. And as you're working through, I'm not sure, you don't want to be known as the migraine sufferer, and you don't want to be recovering from migraines. You would love to be migraine free, or not even using that word anymore because it's not important. Or you've transformed it, as Marian has said, into my brain. It is my seed, and that seed is filling me up, and it's sharing something important with me. So that formula, if you want to know more, you can find it on the YouTube channel, but you can also find it season 5, episode 1, where I talked more in depth, but it's always included in every episode. And it's how I live every day, and I know it's how Marian and Tanya also live. So we would like you to create a personal migraine toolkit. As you're listening today, if you could begin with one gentle self-care practice. We've got different ones that we've recommended across the series of interviews that have been done for Migraine Awareness Month. There have been lots of tools shared. What would you like to add to your toolbox as the listener to this podcast? But I'm going to ask, what, Marian, would you recommend that somebody add to their toolbox that you think is like the first kind of go-to that you like to do?
Well, I think the first thing, I've often said the action that you take is the difference you can make. So some form of action, as we said, drink water, or, whatever floats your boat, what you like to do. It's what's right for me is not right for somebody else. We all have our own uniqueness. So what pleasure do you get? That's what I would recommend that you do. Do something that gives you pleasure. And as you say, it might be just having one of these and taking time to relax with it. But the action that you take is the difference you can make.
Beautiful. Thank you. Tanya, how about for you?
I would say connecting with your breath. Whether you take time to breathe at your desk, or you get up and walk around and breathe, or you go outside in nature and breathe, just taking a moment, breathing, centering, grounding.
And do you still have that image, the first one that you pulled?
Of the Kundalini?
Yeah. So I'm just thought if we bring that back to the forefront, if that's supportive for anybody, to take that deep breath, bring the space into the spine, connect with the color, connect with the image. Just wanted to bring that forward. Thank you.
And I must say that I still have, I found Marianne's image too, because I wanted to put it out on my desk for the week. So we'll bring hers back too.
Nice one.
And mine's on my desk. I'm just not at my desk at the moment. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. That's one of my favorite cards, actually, when I'm playing. And I think what I would add to the toolbox, what I know about the formula and people that I've talked with, many people have no idea how they want to set a goal. They go, well, that's what I'm looking for. What is my purpose? Or what should I be doing? And it can just be a simple thing. Today I just want to be joyful. That's it. And so it's not like you're searching for some great piece that needs to happen. It's just transform your day a little bit. All right. I just want to relax into my day. And then following that formula, for me, provides a great way to put it into action. I've set my day up and then off I go. And
I was thinking today that someone I follow named Mara Glatzel talks about adding 5% to your day. So then I thought, okay, so how many minutes is 5%? So I was thinking, so 8 hours a day is 160 minutes. So 10% of 160 minutes is 16 minutes, and 5% is 8 minutes. So if you think of an 8-hour productivity part of your day, that's 8 minutes. And then possibly 8 minutes for if you're awake another 8 hours. But I'm thinking, so even if it was 10 minutes a day, that would be 70 minutes a week. It's barely an hour.
Yeah.
And then that's only 52 hours a year, which is pretty much just over 2 full days. And so I think that even if we think about giving ourselves 5% a day of our time for a practice, we're still only talking about 52 hours a year.
mm-hmm.
Which is not, because people always say to me, well, I don't have time to do anything for myself. I'm like, I'm talking about 10 minutes a day. You're worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're all worth it. Exactly. So let's think about some of the messages that we hope you as the listener can take away today. Is that healing does not have to feel overwhelming, that the body can show us that the tools, that they can feel right, that we can make choices, and that these practices we can naturally enjoy becoming the ones we return to because they just become familiar. We do know that colors can comfort us. I'm sure that your house and where you like to spend your time is surrounded by things that that you enjoy. Art can inspire us. Our affirmations provide us with a way to be encouraged. Tea rituals help us to pause. The cards can offer guidance. Quiet moments in nature can restore us and bring us to that sense of awe, which science can measure and show how the body completely relaxes. And these simple practices help keep the body in balance and flow. When that happens, emotions are regulated. The way we think, the lens is clear and open. We have these opportunities and openness that we might not otherwise experience. We can reduce the buildup of stress that may contribute to the migraine episodes. Together, we can create personal wellness plans that fit real life, plans that move us away from simply surviving the migraine and put us towards fully living. I would love for some last words from each of you and your experience and with your gifts. Marian, what else could you provide for people?
Well, I just read a quote by Napoleon Hill, and he said, "If you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by self."
Mm.
So do something for yourself. Be yourself, or just be.
Or just be.
Be. Yeah.
Thank you. Tanya, anything else for you?
I used to have at the end of my email, if you want hope, be hope.
Mm.
So if you want healing, be healing.
Yeah.
And the one phrase that I kind of return to, I remind myself when I get in the car and I get in a little bit later than I thought I was going to, is that time doesn't race, we do.
Yes.
And it always makes me stop and go, I will get there when I get there. And that's all that I can do. And that's great. Beautiful. Marian, would you like to share how people can find you, the contacts, and where your resources are?
Okay, so well, my website is marianegan.ie. And as you say, people can go on YouTube channel and look at Marian Egan Transformation Hub if they just want to watch some videos, and have some recordings there of healings that I've done with people. So that's all there. But my website is marianegan.ie. If people want to connect with me there. Yeah.
And Marian's always posting her painting, so you can see how she puts an image together. And I always find it so fascinating. So take advantage of looking that up too, so you can see, and maybe it'll inspire you. Put some paint onto some canvas and play.
Right. Exactly. Thank you.
And Tanya, how about for you? How can people find you?
Well, my website is heartladyinspiration.com. I post pretty much daily on Instagram as either Levy Tanya or Heart Lady Inspiration. That's where most of my garden photos, healing photos, and some of my poetry. I try to post a haiku a day on Instagram.
Beautiful. Thank you. And inspiration, there's no S on the end. I have made that mistake when I've gone to plug something in, so I'll just say that for everybody. heartladyinspiration.com.
Yeah.
Perfect. Beautiful. And the resources that I shared today is on my YouTube channel at Michelle Greenwell. There is the playlist for It's in the Cards, and you can find other recordings that we've done on the affirmations for the body and biofield that we've shared, the harmony coasters. We've done that as unwinding trauma, building resiliency. There's a recording there for that. And the BioEnergetic Wellness Formula, Season 5, Episode 1, if you're on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And otherwise, thegreenwellcenter.com. And we mentioned the programs that we've done where Marian's done intuitive art, Tanya's done art, journaling, storytelling. All that comes under In the Shop events, Symphony of Radiance, and music and movement. So if that's what appeals to you. But know that the resources can be there for you for free. So please take advantage of them. And the last thing I'll say is on canbewell.org, we have a book called BioEnergetic Essentials, and you'll find it right on the front page of the website. And you can click on the self-care tips and tools. That'll be the button. And it's BioEnergetic Essentials, and that's a free ebook that you can download. Tanya and I co-wrote that with Natasha Polomsky and with Paula Noeg-Drug. So we would love for you to have that resource as well. So as you look forward with the way your migraine journey has led you, but where you would like it to go, consider how daily practices and opportunities can give you hope, resilience, and gentle healing in your life. And as you move through this Migraine Awareness Month, keep in mind that there are lots of resources there for you. You are not alone, and we are here. You can reach out to us at any time. Thank you, Marian and Tanya, for being here for this conversation.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Tanya.
And until next time, we all wish you be well. Take care.